Thing live. So let me just make sure the audio and the video is possible for all. I guess we are great. Well, thank you for joining me live on this. And I know many of you are also anticipating because this week we are going to have the launch of not just one, but two launches. So is this going to be the aftermath like what happened in November where we have so many different launches? And this time around, I really want to dive in deeper into some of these layouts of specifically for Parktown Residences. So if you've been waiting for like how's the layout, what kind of layout is more suitable for you, then you don't want to miss this video and you want to really subscribe and put on the notification bell so that whenever I do any launch review, you are able to get first-hand information with my own insights and my own opinion of what you should or should not be doing for this video. So today we're going to dive in deep, not just for the new launches now, there will also be multiple ones coming up. So if you want to hear my views on what projects that you kind of are anticipating or you're kind of looking out for, well, drop me a comment in the below and I'll be more than glad to help you do the research to empower you with property knowledge before you make any decisions. All right, so today, again, if you have been following me, my previous video, I did highlight that today, this video entirely is going to be concentrating on what? The floor plans for Parktown Residences. And why we want one video specifically there, because there's too many layouts. Just like some of the developments or integrated developments that we know, like reserve residences. Okay, the number of layouts is so confusing that sometimes buyers like you yourself, when you're going for the balloting or when you're in the queue, you kind of panic and you kind of anyhow choose. So I really want you all to do more prep work beforehand. And this video is entirely for you if you are kind of comparing between Parktown Residences and some other projects. And I want to point out some of the key points regarding the layouts that you will want to avoid as well. So some key points that I think you will also help you in your property journey. So without further ado, let's just dive straight in. Let me just share my screen here. For those who are joining me, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on board. Let's see. Okay, give me a second. We have some. Oops, where is it? Never mind. Give me just a couple of seconds while I just export this out. Yeah, so again, today, many of us, because of the after hype of the various launches previously, right, that we are also kind of confused. There are so many launches out there. What should I be doing? And what are the mistakes that we should be avoiding? And today, I not only I want to share with you the layout, I also want to give you some understanding. Like today, if you are going for a balloting process, or even if you're selecting any kind of properties, you have to be very careful of the what ifs. I always pre-prepared. Okay, cancel a little bit, doesn't matter. And you have to always ask yourself these three questions. The first question is, if the pricing is too high for me to buy, will you still move forward with it? So these are all what we call pre-preparation. You must have a certain price point, financial sums to be done before you do it. And if let's say today you're going in with the intention like, oh, today I queue, and wow, now leftover units because I already queued so long. I've been waiting for this for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and then you just buy. So the question you must ask yourself is this the right way for you to buy property? Because you are spending millions of dollars, right? And a lot of times they always find that, oh, because I already spent time to queue and effort, then I just buy lah. Or so you'll be surprised, you may be laughing right now. Okay, like can man, will people do that? You'll be surprised of the number of people we saw who purchase due to the whether it's a pressure or due to their FOMO situation. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, are you making a logical decisions when buying? Because we have countless of buyers who purchase really, reach out to us and ask ourselves and ask us like, did we actually buy the correct property? And some of them even attempt to give up their property because they did realize after that when they cool down, they did realize they actually make a hasty decision. So my channel and my videos are always preparing you ahead so that you don't fall into this kind of situation that you don't want to buy already, then you regret. Okay, I think this is something we have to be very careful about. So if let's say today you are doing this process, you also must ask yourself, besides this project, are you too close-minded? Okay, are you looking at it from a very tunnel vision that you only look at this launch? But are there any other projects that potentially you have not even considered before? So this is also another area or question I urge every one of you to ask. So at least you can understand, besides A property, could there be B, C, or even D that you can even consider? And once you have explored your options, then you make a decision. Isn't that safer? So our role here is really to kind of open up your mind to explore what are the possibilities. Perhaps you only are thinking about A direction or B direction. And through our experience and number of clients that we've dealt with, right, we are able to kind of share with you other perspectives of what is going to happen. So more importantly is what could you be missing? So our role is to really provide you a second opinion on what could potentially be for your objective, and then we can move forward. Because a lot of times I really don't suggest you to stretch your price points, stretch your budget uh, for the purchase. And sometimes when you are there, you are queuing, and when it left a certain number of units, it may be a little bit out of your price point, or maybe there's a certain stretch, and you just go for it. You see, so I don't advise that, and also the borrow too much part. Also, please work within your means. Although new launches, you may do a little bit of forward thinking, and that's what we do a lot with our clients in terms of forward thinking. And you definitely want to you don't want to maximize your property without the four saves in our financial calculation. So if today you're kind of worried, like today, whatever I buy, uh, is it going to be a concern? Then you want to maximize our four saves in our financial calculation to make sure that this property is going to be good. All right. So holding to a property is always key. Okay. Holding on to a property is always key. It's not about rushing in and then you have only 3 years to sell, that kind of situation. I think that is something, it's not as crucial. All right. So one key thing that you want to understand is today, through the balloting process, how we guide our clients towards is a lot of implementation, a lot of pre-preparation, and we do a lot of preparation before the ballot even. So throughout this entire few launches, we actually made up with our clients way before, and we cover quite a fair bit. So I'm not going to dive in too much into this. If you want to know exactly what are the steps that we are going to guide you through in terms of a balloting process, so you can be more confident, you can be aware of what is happening, what are the prices going on, and what is your walk away price. Then you may want to kind of go through a process with us, and we will guide you step by step. All right, so if today whether you are going for Parktown, or you're going for Alta, and you also have upcoming one like One North, which is a Bloomsbury Residences, or even Lentor Central Residences, you may want to scan the QR code and reach out to us, and we'll be more than willing to kind of guide you through the process. All right, so for Lentor Residences, it's going to preview on the 22nd, which is much later, and Alta and Parktown is going to be at the same date. So you're going to be like repeat of 2023, 2024 saga of November. Wow, which one you go? Do you put everything in? So we want to what? Assist you in this process so that you don't hastily just choose a property. And if you really need a second opinion before you make any decision, do scan the QR code. We'll be more than willing to kind of guide you and guide you through your objective that you're going to go for. Because these are not the only launches. There's still quite a fair bit. So even upcoming one, we have some of them in the CCR region. Maybe you are also considering. So the question is it a fair time to actually enter into CCR? What are the key mechanisms that we should look out for? What are the criteria we should look out if, let's say, we really are going to CCR? And this potentially, if you ask me, is once in a lifetime situation where you can still own a CCR at an affordable rate. For more details, scan the QR code. When we have more information, we will be sharing with you. So coming back to Parktown, okay, so location-wise, I'm not going to stress too much. So in my videos, a lot of the information that you can find online, I'm not going to cover. So if you don't know Parktown, just search Parktown Residences on Google. You should be able to get more information. But I just want to kind of draw you the attention today, while Parktown is being a private property, which is standing at this location, there's also two ECs that you also have to take note of. And there's a lot of all these empty plots of land that potentially is going to be under residential, and they already been zoned as residential. The key thing is that this Tampines North interchange is a temporary site. They're going to be integrated into the sorry, not this way. It's going to integrate into Parktown Residences, which means the Tampines North interchange site will also become a residential. So all these are already factored in the master plan. Again, when will they launch the land? Potentially, we won't know the details. But looking at how they are developing east side, the Tampines area or Tampines West area, right, and North area, I believe that they are not going to kind of delay the launches. so far away. Very likely, this is going to be a repeat of how land tour area are being released, but that's just my guideline because there's a lot of movement in terms of east side transformation. And if you are looking into more details about east side transformation, you want to watch my previous video, then you can get a better sense about what is happening. Okay, so the site plan, just to give you a very quick overview, I also did explain a little bit more in details of the site plan in my previous video, but I'm going to use this site plan to kind of rationale with the layout. So I'm going to cover a few things. I'm going to cover the layout of how they plan out, meaning we're going to compare the 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms side by side of the different layout because there are just too many layouts. Okay, so we really want you to kind of pick out some of the comparison. What are the similarities? What are the few key things to take note of if you're selecting that floor plan? And we're going to use a site plan to show you where the facing are and how do we actually choose a certain property. And one of the key things is that you must understand that for the Tampines Avenue 6, you are facing the HDB side. Tampines Plot 11, these are all for future plots of residential. Again, question mark, we don't know when are they going to launch. And Tampines North 2, this is where the temporary bus interchange is, which in future is also going to be another plot of land. So we have the views that you are going to kind of look into. And if you're talking about the HDB views, you are talking about Tampines Green View, all right, as well as the other side, which is the Green Court. All right, so there are some HDB views that you need to take note of. But more importantly is this plot where the empty land is, which is a residential site. Also, these are some of the key areas that we look at. And is this important for us to take note? For a Parktown Residences site, I don't believe the height level is going to be too much of an issue. Why? Because they are all almost the same height, okay? And your surrounding, no matter how high you go, you are also indirectly being blocked. So it really depends on what's your preferences. So in developments like this, one of the key criteria that we always use is we may not need to pay more to go up higher floors unless you have a certain preference of certain height level or certain floor level numbers. If not, this kind of properties with the views that is presently also being blocked, you may not need to necessarily go up very high floor. And if you are facing the unit inside, so then again, you are also seeing the next block. You may not necessarily need to buy the higher floors. That says, a lot depends because we've seen so many site plans and layout before, right? So a lot also depending on the distance, the distance between the blocks. Okay, so this is also one aspect I believe Parktown Residences stands out. And today you no need to only select the lower floor units. You do have the potential to even go high floor units, and I share with you why. Because it was such a massive land, right? They are so well spaced out. There's a lot of landscape, there's a lot of greenery, and they have like different zones for different things. So if you look at the distance between each blocks, well, actually, this is one of the very impressive site plan that I've seen. For such a very nice regular plot of land and being an integrated property, yet the lifestyle, the landscaping that they have built with the distance to each other is extremely functional. Okay, and it's very rare that you can get 100 meters, 100 meters kind of distance. And if you do block to block, wow, you have almost 120 meters. You see, so all these are very comfortable in terms of how we look into this property. So for Parktown Residences, no need to be too anxious like, oh, I only need to choose the lower floors. I believe the higher floors will also have its demand because of the sheer distance. All right, so this is something that you always want to take note if let's say you are looking at the selection and you may have a little bit more options. Of course, will higher price, will the higher units be loaded with more premium? That one really depends on the pricing strategy when the developer releases, and we will be there to guide you through whether to get a low, mid, or even a high floor, which one is more suitable, and also it depends on the facing. Okay, are we looking inwards? Are we looking outwards? That kind of configuration. So in this development, I believe with the distance like this, the inside facing ones will definitely be more premium. Okay, because outside not much view, but when you're moving inside, wow, the view quite nice. You get all the pools, you see, you got all the pools, all the facilities. So it's a very luxurious landscape kind of feeling that you get. Oh, so this is something that you must also take note of. And we have so many different floor plans. So this is going to take a while for us to compare. Of course, we're not going to go individual layout. So stay tuned all the way because we are not only just showing you individual layouts, we're going to do comparison. That means you're going to compare the two bedrooms. And I'm going to pick out some of the more key layouts that has a little bit more difference that you potentially have problems comparing them because there's just too many. Or you can see the numbers, all of them almost the same one. So what is the key difference? All right, so that's why you want to subscribe to this channel and like this video, then I will continue to do more. Okay, well, I'll give you a quick overview. All right, these are the number of units for each type of developments. Generally, a lot of them will say that, okay, these groups are more for the investment. Okay, and then the other type is more for homestay. All right, at this current moment, if you ask me, there are many developments right now, they all combine together, which is why I introduced the term home investor. Okay, home investor for those who are working with us so that we can guide you through that. Hey, today when you're buying a property, are you purely looking from an own stay perspective or investment? That's what usually people go for, right? But what if we can combine these two elements and have a good balance that we can still purchase a property as a home investor? So there are certain traits that we guide our clients in our master classes, in our one-on-one consults, that we guide them to think like an investor, but you also have the traits of a home owner. So that's why home investor is a very powerful term. All right, so let us take a look at a very straightforward one plus study bedroom. Okay, one plus study bedroom. And if you can see the layouts, is quite straightforward. Okay, nothing much to shop for, and you have three layouts: A, B, C. They are of the same size, but you can see the configuration is slightly different. So one plus study, I think moving forward, they are all going to be structured this way, and with open kitchen concept and space that you can do. And I think one of the key thing that the 506 layout, okay, do stands out a little bit more. From a size and the look of it, the space of the study is much wider. Also, this is more of a proper development, proper kind of layout for a study. The rest is the space is a little bit more tight, so it may not be configured into like maybe even a storage, a proper storage. You can also do that for the rest of the study. So you can see here the study area. Okay, so a 1.8 meters by 1250 is functional, but it's not necessarily the best if you really want to double it up as a so-called mini room to fit in a mini single bed or even storages plus a study room. Also, these are all the difference. So if you can see all the A, B, right, you can't really tell much difference. But the slight difference is that the depth, okay, there's a shorter depth in terms of the master room. There's a shorter depth in the master room. All right, so the not much key differences. So when you're there presently, you can't really tell um, how wide it is because the difference is really very, very marginable. Or but the size is the same. Also, I also sometimes wonder, hey, why developer make themselves the architect confused, or are they trying to do this to confuse us? Or so this is something that we have to take note of. And let's take a look at where the one plus study units are. All right, so if you can see all the yellow color ones, okay, I just use a different color. So if you have the 506 square feet, that means a slightly bigger one. We have them in stack 60. Okay, where's block 11? Let me see. See, sometimes we have to block this one. All right, so this is the 506. Okay, and then you also have block 13, which is 60. Okay, so we're going to go one by one so you have a better idea. Okay, so I point it out, easier for you to acknowledge. Then we have block 17, which is stack 87. 87. And then we have block 19, which is stack 88. Wait, let me see where's 88. 88. And last but not least, we also have stack 21, block 21, 105, as well as block 23, 114. All right, so you can see they are all tucked in one side, which is where the main facilities are. So for you, the convenience is that you can easily, depending on which side are you at. Okay, so what is the main category characteristics of the one plus study? You can see they're all facing outwards. So whether you get a high floor, low floor, it really depends on what's your acceptance. So in this situation, because you don't get the inside view, which is definitely going to be more premium, which means I believe the 1+ study are going to be priced very attractive for people to just use it as a stepping stone, as their first property perhaps, and then they can actually use it to grow their asset and elevate their assets to the next property. Also, because today, if let's say you are facing here, which is Tampines North to this is where the temporarily bus interchange, which will be removed, which means there will be definitely be construction going on. So out of this, if you ask me, my top choices, depending on prices still, depending on prices still is I will definitely choose the inside facing as my top choice. Okay. And the Tampines Street 62 as my second choice. And my third one will be the one facing that bus interchange. Okay, the reason why I do that is because I would always prefer to have a more guaranteed kind of a position. So if I choose C, I do not know when the potential of the next block is going to be, the construction. So all this may interfere with me when I want to sell, because the next buyer will largely always ask, so what's going to be in front of the plot of land? You see, so there's a lot of uncertainty, and that's why I rank it C. But of course, it's not doesn't mean that is your category. Everybody will have different preferences. I still right down to the pricing. Okay, between A, B, and C view, we will have to see okay whether the pricing justify or not. Perhaps A and B, they will, perhaps B, at least for B, I would not think that they're going to price it like crazily high or what, because right, opposite, there's also a block view already. But the accessibility is still there for everyone of us. All right, so this is something that we have to take note. Again, these are all our own guideline to see what is potentially how the facing are. So this is more for the 506 square feet. And if you can see all the other configuration, right, let us just look at the other block, which is block 103. Let me just, okay, I will just pull out the color so that you can kind of take a look lah, So I'm going to pull out and clean this up a little bit so you can see the other layout. So there's a lot lah. There's a lot. Okay, so I'm going to just use the color so that you can see easily. So we have block 103, okay, and then we have block 5, block 30, block 5, 30, okay, and then you have block 2, which is 50. Where's block 2? Block 2, block 2. Okay, they are right wrongly. Where's block 2? I also couldn't find. Never mind, we skip. Block 11. Block 11, this is block 57, stack 57. And then we have block 13, 66. And we have block 15, 77. 17, 84. Oh, I'm like giving total number. Chinese New Year, maybe you can go and buy some. 1921, that's how they do it. 1921, then you go and buy. All right. Also, we have 21,102. Okay, so 21,102, just take note. This one is only on the second floor. Okay, because the ones on top are all the bigger units. So just take note, these are the 1+1. So why am I missing block 2? Okay, let me record it again. All right, by looking at all right, so this, then you have a little bit of a different configuration because a lot of them are the inward facing, inward facing, inward facing, all the inward facing. So developers are very smart one when they are pricing their property. So although this is a smaller layout, okay, so if you want to see the layout again, these are all the configuration, okay, for the layout. These are the 463 square feet, 1+1. To me, I find that the longer corridor, uh, if given a choice, of course, I will choose the more compact ones. Okay, so even layout wise, the longer corridor, it does give you a little bit more privacy, but I personally will always prefer a more regular entrance, or a little bit safe space. So it's more compact, you see. So in this situation, really depends on the ballot number, what you choose, and what are the facings, because there's just too many configuration. There's also block 3, block 314, block 314, this one, block 734, 34 here, And then the final layout, which is the more regular one, this one, okay? There's only in block 23110. 23110. It's only this one. All right. So that's why this is, if you ask me, this is the very rare one block, whether we can get it or not. If not, we will have to settle for the other kind of layout. So all of them are inward facing. So this is the kind of developments that you can easily even choose the higher floor units because the distance between each other is quite comfortable. So how do you choose between A, which is the Park West, or B, Park East? So this really depends on your preferences. From a home investor perspective, are there going to be much difference? We only use two key points whenever we look at properties. If let's say we are looking from a home investor perspective, the first one is I look at growth. Okay, whatever projects that we're going, whatever units, whatever pricing I'm not looking at how cheap this property is, how low the price is. I look at whether this property has growth potential or not. Okay, so that is one of the key criteria when we are doing our research. The second criteria is if let's say today you are going into a development like, okay, I must buy Parktown Residences. This is my only chance. You go in, right? Then we will also in this development look at what the lowest price point. Okay, price point to enter. Okay, because as a home investor, right, we may not need to go for the highest floor unit with the highest pricing because our role is your entry. If we can keep it lower, then we are able to exit it with ease, and in terms of our capital outlay, it's also going to be safer. So that's how we look in the developments. So if let's say today you're looking at one plus study, there are so many different configurations, so many facing, and if the choices coming out, we will use some of these guidelines to advise you what to do and how to do it. Also, this is generally how the one plus study is going to be. So today, who is entitled, or should I say, what kind of buyers is more suitable for the one plus study? Okay, because there's a lot of noises to say that, wow, today if I buy one plus study, then who's going to buy from me? It's not going to be cheap. It's very difficult for me to rent it out. So there's a lot of all these noises going on. But I want to stress again, it's not that a one plus study cannot buy. It still comes down to the pricing and your acceptance level. Today, if your finances cannot allow you to go for the two-bed configuration, then you have no choice. At least you are able to enter into a one plus study. It also gives you a little bit more of assurance because today, wouldn't you be interested to buy property 10 years ago and buy a little bit more if you have the opportunity? Also, this is also something that we sometimes will regret, like, oh, one plus study, I cannot. Then they say that, oh, the two-bedroom is a little bit out of my price point. Then I continue to do what? Continue to wait, lor. Let me save more money before you buy. Okay, so if you have been in this situation, you may want to really reach out to us and let us share with you some of the real case studies that we have encountered. That why waiting, or should I say, waiting to save money to buy a bigger quantum property or a bigger size property is not the best strategy. Okay, we can never chase it, and we have the facts and numbers to really show you what happened. All right. So if today you are in that position, you are very uncomfortable, and you really need somebody to kind of show you a different perspective, do reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to guide you. All right. So one plus study, quite configuration is quite good. Like I say, we have a lot of layouts to cover. All right, so let us move on to the two-bedroom, which is definitely from an investment perspective, is everybody like a two-bed situation, and these are all the two-bed, one-bath or two-bed, one-bath configuration. And two-bed, one-bath, of course, I've done one for REI. If you can just go to search my channel, I've done to highlight the comparison for a one plus study, and today should you go for a one plus study or should you go for a two plus uh, two bed, one bath configuration. So from there, you are able to get a sense of how we look at pricing. As of now, the pricing are not out yet, but as long as we have the pricing, I'll be doing up another video to show you specifically how we justify that to pay that extra X amount of money. Does it make sense to upsize our unit and our size of the property? All right, so for two-bedroom, two plus study, two plus two bed, one bath, not much configuration differences for all the three. Same size, just that your entrance is a little bit different. All right, so one is the A one is more regular. That means you have a wider opening, and the other one you have a more longish kind of configuration. right? So not much differences on this. And if you can look at the facing, okay, facing wise, let's use a different color. So we have block 107. Okay, block 107 is here. Okay, block 107, block 108, okay, side by side. Then you have block 17, 87, 17, 87, 87, just draw it. 7 is this. And then you have 1988. 1988. That's 1988. Okay. So you can see that, how come some of the units are under the 1 plus study configuration? So this is why the comparison is very important. Just like reserve residences, some floor levels, they only have 1 unit. And then when it goes on second and third floor onwards, right, they are of a different size. So please check this very carefully. And when today, if you have not arranged your preview for Parktown Residences, do reach out to us so that we can actually get you the access. And I always prepare lah. Don't try not to go over the weekends. It's going to be extremely crowded. It's not going to be a great experience for you. So, but evenings after your work time, let us know when we can so that we can schedule it ahead for you to give you the best VIP experience. And that's where we can also guide you through all the finances and what's the objective that you're going for. We can also advise you along. All right. So this is the then next one we have 21105. 21105 is here. And then you have what? 23114, 23114. All right, so they're all also outside facing. So why are the developers doing this kind of configuration? If you ask me, it's more on affordability. Today, I think the draw is not just about the facing, okay? The facing is a part of a development's perks. But for Parktown Residences, being an integrated property, I think you are able to easily convince yourself that the integrated mall, the transport, the hawker center, the community club is a bigger draw. So even if you're facing outside, for you, the convenience of coming down from your house straight away to the shopping mall, straight away to the hawker center, straight away to the MRT and bus interchange, I think that spells a bigger value than just the facing. All right, so this is why developers are also very careful to make sure that today, while the facing are outside, will it make sense for them to price this very affordable? Because the perks for integrated property is not just the view. All right. So if you agree with me, you can just type in yes inside the comment. Or maybe you can share with me what kind of strategy do you think the developer is may launch based on this using previous examples. Will they actually price this kind of property that is facing outside lower, or it will still be as high as how they can command it, depending on the buyers. All right, so this is very interesting when you see how they do this. Okay, so I think one of the key thing for Parktown Residences is I like how much space we have, the amount of facilities that we have built in, and you have Park East and Park West kind of considered. Yeah, so today, if you are considering the Park West, I believe that area will be a little bit more quieter, all right, because it's a more of a lap pool kind of configuration. But if you are in Park East, do prepare that there will be more activities going on because that's where the main pool is, that's where the kids' pools are, and there'll be more people may want to enjoy that kind of luxury kind of ambience for the swimming pool area and the clubhouse. Okay, so now we come to the ever popular 2+2 bed, 2 bath. All right, so 2 bed, 2 bath. I think the configuration for A and B, not much difference. Okay, the only thing that you may want to take note about A and B is that they are the same size, so no issue. Is the depth. Okay, you can see that this configuration, that means you are more tucked in, that means you align with the other you are aligned to the balcony side. Where else B, right, you are actually even more tucked inwards. So later on I will share with you um how is it like, because this could be a consideration factor for you. Okay, it is a key consideration factors because the moment when we have things like this, right, like a void space, right, but you're more tucked into the balcony, right, the first thing that we will take note is that today likelihood this is going to be another unit beside you. Okay, when we see layout like this, immediately we can agree that this is how it's going to be. So later on, when we look at the site plan, you will have a better understanding that which are the ones that is B configuration. And today, if you look at C, which is of course a very comfortable two-bed, two-bath, 721. And this configuration is your normal, the corridor, very conventional layout. And today, although everybody loves to buy A and B type, which is we call the dumbbell unit because more efficiency of using of space, but you don't discount the C type of properties because with the bigger space that you have, you can actually make do with quite a fair bit of the living area, the dining area, and they will be much more proper. You see, so they have the kitchen tucked one corner, you see, tucked in one corner, which means that when you come in from the entrance, right, everything is very smooth, very comfortable, and you will not have the area where it's too short. So if you look at A and B, the runway is a little bit shorter, which means the moment we come in, it may feel a little bit claustrophobic. Immediately come in, oh, there's it's like, ta-da, okay, my house is there already. Whereas for C, you still have a little bit of walkway before you reach to your dining or even a living space. So this is a little bit more of a conventional kind of layout, and you have more corridor areas to kind of give yourself some privacy. So are there a preference? This one really depends on your queue number, what kind of layout you more prefer, and importantly is still the pricing, or how are they going to stack up in terms of pricing. So let us take a look at the facing, right? So these are the units that are going to be under the two-bed, two-bath, which is 21,101, 21,101, which is here. And then we have 23,110, 23,110, which is here. So take note for this 110, the second floor is a 1 plus study. That means from third floor onwards, then it will be a 2 plus 2, a two-bed, two-bath. Also, you must take note of that. And also we have the stack 23,111, which is just beside. So you do have the inward facing configuration. All right. And one thing to take note that 101, a few things to take note. So these are all uh, from the inside facing. And the 101, that means, let me just put a star here. And the 111, okay, these two. Because the 110 is second floor is a 1 plus study. So your unit is only from the third floor onwards. Whereas for the one where I indicated star, right, you actually do have the access from your balcony. So which means it's like on the ground floor, or their ground floor is considered second floor. So you will be able to access outwards, all right, to your, of course, it's not to the pool, but you can go to your pathway. There's greenery in front of you. There's some plants there, your trees. So it acts a little bit like you have your own private garden. So this is definitely very interesting. So a lot of times people always ask, hey, Emma, if I buy a ground, it's like a ground floor unit, will there be people who purchase it? So in the past, there's always this stigma that we shouldn't be buying the ground floor unit, we shouldn't be buying the penthouse unit. Largely is because of the space. So in the past, when you have a ground floor unit, your patio space is going to be giant, humongous, and it doesn't contribute to your living area, right? But nowadays, all the developments, because of the guideline harmonization and all these new terms, right? The ground floor is going to be the same size as every other floor, which means today you are still paying for the livable area, but instead of you having to pay extra for the balcony space, now the balcony size is the same, and yet you will have an advantage of what, access your private garden. So this, don't be undermined that this ground floor unit could be more expensive, and which we have seen this in multiple recent projects. Okay, Chuan Park, they also the lower floor units are actually more expensive, and even for Emerald or Katong, okay, because they have access outwards. So these are also small little element that when we are doing price comparison, we will highlight the very one key question we ask ourselves is that premium worth for me to pay? So if let's say today you're comparing a ground floor with access to your second floor example, and the difference is 30,000, will you pay the ground floor for the 30,000 because of this privacy or even private access to your so-called mini garden? So these are all the things that we will usually take note of when we are doing comparison. And another one that we will look into is the block 1156. Block 1156, let me see, B3, BP4. Yeah, okay. So BP4 one is, we are talking about block 1156. Block 1156. And then we have 1365. And then we have 1783, as well as 1992. Wow, all the numbers come out already. Also, all inward facing. Generally, I think the developers are definitely focusing on the two-bed, two-bath, and because they have more units and they are all inward facing, potentially this will be one of the hottest during the balloting process. So this is also another strategy. If today you have the ability, will you want to challenge to go and get a two-bed, two-bath when we know this is going to be one of the highest ticket that a lot of people will be challenging it for? Or you will want to space out a little bit, maybe to go for other type of options that you may not need to go home empty-handed. So that is also a key thing. So today, besides just looking at the site plan, right, we're also going to compare the two-bed plus study. That means the two-bed, two-bath, and the two-bed, two-bath plus study. What is the main difference? Okay, so we're also going to look into that because the two-bed premium, right? You can see the two-bed premium plus study is all this color. So if you can, let me just maybe clean this up a little bit so you all can see. So you just have to find this color. So we have the, just use another color to use. So you will have like 34, you have 30, you have 14, you have all this. All right, so all these are all the new configuration of the sizes that we can look at. Okay, they are all this configuration. So they have both sides, east and west, east and west to compare. And the number of units for premium plus study is also more. Okay, so premium plus study, if we're looking at the numbers, right, we have 134 units. Okay, 134 units. So again, I'm not showing every layout, but these are the key layouts that I find that you will potentially have problems selecting. That's why you may not see some of every stacks that I'm going to show. But these are just how you can see and all inward facing, which is why you'll be spoiled for choice. And that is usually where mistakes could happen because you're spoiled for choice. You may just anyhow choose. And as long as you get a unit, you'll be very happy. So what's the difference between a two-bed, two-bath plus a two-bed premium plus study? So let us take a look. So these are the difference. So A is the plus study, B is just a normal configuration. So the difference, of course, additional study. So the two-bed plus study, if you ask me, this is one of the better layout configuration that I've seen for a long, long time. Why? Because the moment when you come in, of course, your kitchen is tucked in, which is a bonus, added bonus. But what you get is this sheer space. Okay, so I think one of the key thing for two-bed, usually we are very concerned about is that it's a little bit tight, it's a little bit open concept, and we don't feel the space. But this, with this plus study, you can see technically it's not only just a tighter one, but it opens up this entire space, right? That it becomes part of your dining area that you can actually do a lot more things. Even if today you don't want to put in a study, right? You can actually do a lot of different configuration as part of a room if you want to, and this can also double it up if you want to enclose it. So then your entire area becomes a dining, or maybe you are able to put some pantry to kind of reconfigure this. And not only that, today with this layout, although this is the situated dining, right? Do you know that you can also put a dining here if you want to? You see, you can also, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, which means that if I shift my dining here, then I free up a new space here. You see, I will have a newer space. Or alternatively is I shift everything into the balcony space. Then I will have more than enough space that I can even do a additional storage pantry this area. So let me just clean this up. Yeah, so imagine if you have this free up, and your dining is here. Can you imagine this two green wall, right? You can do so many other things. So I believe there's a lot of thought process goes into this, and they want to make this as functional as possible. That this two-bed premium plus study, potentially, if you ask me, it can double up as a three-bedroom. It can also double up as three-bedroom, depending on how you look at it. Because why, you're getting also an enclosed kitchen. Okay, versus the two-bed premium, like I say, it all still comes down to the pricing. Okay, it still comes down to the pricing of what's the jump in terms of the dollars and cent, right? No, sorry, it should be the other way around. The other way around. Okay, the jump of pricing. Okay, what's the pricing jump? And then we will determine based on the size for me to pay the extra 100 square feet or slightly less than 100 square feet? Is it worth that premium that I can get additional space, I can get additional study, and I will have a wider area to work with? All right, so this is very crucial, important, because sometimes the two bed, two bath, if let's say it is sold out, and by the time you are queuing, there's still a two bed premium plus study. How do you make a decision on the spot to decide is this worth for you to purchase? So that's where we come in to guide you step by step. And today, if you like what you are hearing so far, do give it a thumbs up, subscribe the channel, and scan the QR code. Potentially, if you are looking out for more advice on how do you actually select the properties on the ballot day, or perhaps today you are kind of, oh, should I decide whether a current launch or maybe a future launches, you are not clear in where your direction is, scan the QR code and we will be providing you a second opinion of what is your direction, and potentially we can share with you the experience that we have and how other people are doing it. All right. So far so good. Now we have cleared 1 and 2 bedrooms. So follow me through because we are going to cover the very ever popular 3 and 4 bedrooms coming up. Okay, so 3 bedrooms. You can easily see from the blue color. Okay, blue color, light blue, like if you ask me, light blue. So we have here, all these are the light blue. Okay, light blue here. So I think it's a no-brainer that developer will definitely make sure that there's enough 3 bedrooms here, and these are the 3 bedrooms that currently the configuration for this are the 3 bed compact. Okay, 3 bed compact. So the number of units is about 135. It's very similar to the 3 bed premium, which is 160 something, and the 3 bed plus study is about 100 over units or so. So there's a lot of configuration for the 3 bed and 3 bed premium and 3 bed plus study. So that is definitely one of the most popular, and in a integrated mall like this, families will definitely looking at the space that they're going for, and this potentially can help you lah. So depending on your balloting, there's no really a yes or no which facing is the best. It all depends on how the pricing are. And again, I want to stress, today you're buying Parktown Residences, it's not only just for the view. Okay, if you can get the view, a more premium view, it's better. But all these are facing outwards. So got view, no difference. But you get the convenience of everything that you have, 7 in 1. Okay, so 3 bedroom, right? So just take note the configuration this time round, very interestingly, we are seeing the 3 bed compact. Hey, wow, go back to the 900 plus square feet. Wow, very generous of the developer to provide this. Also, 2 different layouts. These 2 layouts, one is definitely a dumbbell, which is A, and then B, you will have a normal conventional layout. So it is interesting that we're starting to see more 3 bedrooms that is dumbbell. So if you have followed me and I did go, wow, now 3 bedrooms, we can get a dumbbell unit. But now it's getting a little bit more common. So even though it's still wow, because you can get 926 square feet, right, with a dumbbell unit, which means the feel of the whole space is very comfortable. And I particularly, nowadays, whenever I see layouts, although they are same but different, I'm still quite impressed of how they are able to squeeze in so much stuff. And this is definitely a very livable, functional layout for any families, all right, for this 3 bedroom. And because why? Your kitchen, you can see they have even a yard area, okay, a yard space that they can configure up. So it's not a tiny kitchen like what we are used to for a 3 bed compact. Even the pre-harmonization, right? Some of the 947 square feet 3 bedroom don't even have such a should I say what, rewarding kitchen space. Or for a 3 bedroom, you do need to take that into account, and a yard space, and of course you do your laundry at the balcony and all. You do need to look at all this functionality. And why is this important? Because we always have this very key criteria is today whatever you buy, it's not just for yourself. You also must think about how you're going to sell to the next buyer. Because when everything becomes resale, the functionality, the usage of the place becomes the key consideration factors. Of course, price also, but whether it's functional for the family to use, that will determine if your property can increase in value or stagnant in value. Right. So we do have seen properties that because of the layout issue, their property don't grow as quick. Not that it won't grow, it's just that it's not as quick as the other type of layout. So this one you have to be very careful. So during our balloting process, what we are emphasizing always is like today you must select a functional layout, not for yourself, but for how you're going to sell it next time. So a dumbbell unit, you can't go too much wrong. It's just that you have to decide which child you want to put there, a silent corner. Okay, which child you want to put there. Either you want to use it as a naughty corner, also can. But I think whichever kid stays there happy, because no disturbance, I can do whatever I want. Sometimes you go out, you may not even remember that there's a kid there or a room there, right? So this functions it as maybe a dungeon configuration. Or the B, commonly a very common kind of layout. But you need to take note what is the main difference between 926 and 936. So this is why I say developers very smart one. Or they give you additional 10 square feet. But where is the 10 square feet? Actually, not much different. Of course, you can highlight all the extra long corridor and the entire entrance space, right? But for the 936 square feet, you must take note there is window. Okay, there's a window here, and there's also window in the bathroom. Okay, these are very key points. So today you may get space in terms of functionality, or should I say usage of space for A, but B, you get the basics of windows in your unit. So is that going to be a deal breaker for you when you're choosing a property? We actually, it's quite mixed, 50-50. We do have some clients, they are very insistent on having the windows because of ventilation. And it's kind of a very common purchasing property thing. I buy 2 over million, right? I don't have windows, then I have to turn on my ventilator, that kind of stuff. So, but nowadays, a lot of the young generation that we spoke to, they are so used to, like, okay, hotel also don't have window, You see, so they're kind of used to the mechanical ventilator kind of approach, which that's why I mentioned that this is more of a personal preference. Will price be a lot difference between these two? I highly doubt developers are going to put like a whole premium because of Windows. I highly doubt so. But again, it really depends on how it goes. So 926, and 936 is actually a very good size. So why did I put in this property? Because when if you are here with me and you've been following me, you will know which layout is this. All right, so this is one of the very rare layout that at 850 square feet. Okay, and this is none other than REI. So REI's 3-bed compact is only 850 square feet, and you all know the result of people buying this layout. So originally, people keep saying that no, nobody will buy this 850. It's so small as a 3-bedroom, and no windows. No windows. No window is no window, no window. Everything no window lah. Okay, but people buy that. So that's why I'm saying that today, very importantly, as a home investor, right, you cannot use your own preferences to buy property anymore. You have to start looking at how the consumers' behavior has changed over time and buy that kind of property that you're going to sell to. Because the next buyer, right, is not going to be your age. It's not going to be those that is older than you. They are going to be the ones younger than you, and we have to kind of start thinking how they will think when they are buying property from us. So Ori already highlighted with this kind of configuration, and even the so-called window here for the bedroom is actually facing another block, so actually no view one, but okay for ventilation for a room, a little bit cham for this if you ask me. But 850, people buy. All right, people buy all the way under 40th floor also, you see. So today with Parktown Residences, I believe the layout are definitely much more functional, and you no need to cram because with 926 and 936 layout, very usage. The usage is there. Also, besides these two, I also want to show you what other configuration they have and what is the main difference. Because there's so many, right? So I can share with you very quickly. The difference are not going to be too much. Okay, the 11 square feet different is only just the entrance. Or this one a little bit more, it's shorter, this one a bit longer. So this is where the main difference. The rest are generally the same. And for this layout, one thing you must take note is that this is a I would say a longer layout, and at the same time they will have what? Windows. So the other property that I've seen with this similar layout is wow, it suddenly slipped my mind. Gardens residences, yes. Okay, garden residences have this kind of configuration where you have the windows and everything, and you have an in-between kind of ventilation, okay, in between. So this actually is a very useful. I was when we were selecting the property for our clients in garden residences, we also choose this because the purple color area where it's in between the corridor for window, right? It actually allows sunlight to come in. That means there's light source. If not, your corridor, a lot of people always find that, oh, it's a little bit dark. But with this, it actually brightens up the whole corridor and your whole house is not dark. So this is one of the key differences. And another few configuration, which is all the 947, more or less the same differences is all the entrances. That's all. So I also don't know how they build until they can build so many different configuration of entrances. So some people will like a longer one. Some people prefer a this way. Some people prefer a longer. So there's no really right or wrong kind of decision to make. But I believe that today, if you ask me, I'm only looking at functionality. Which one out of A and B and C do you think is more functional at the entrance? All right, tell me your answers and see whether you all are thinking the same as me or not. All right, so out of these three, right, there's a few ways that we can look into. So if let's say you want to be a little more creative in the entrance, right, I will show you how I will do it. Oh, so because recently I've been talking to a lot of IDs. So one way is that you can do what? You can do a force wall. I not say force wall, force cabinet with your DB box as part of your storage area because you have quite a long entrance. You can definitely put it as a storage. You can put it as where you can wear your shoes, put your shoes. You know, you can do that. And with a feature wall, you can do that. Or else for B, right? You can't do it at the DB box because the DB box is already there, so you may as well use it. You cannot put something here because this will kind of break your space of your DB box. The only location that you can go for perhaps is the entrance. So you can have a kind of a mid-level kind of cabinet and you can put a big painting in front of you. That becomes like a showcase when you walk into the unit. So it's kind of fun. So but at the same time you get privacy lah, also for B. And C, this layout, wow, you got a lot more space. Okay, whether how big you want to do here, you can actually fit in quite a fair bit of storage here also. So if you ask me out of this configuration, I personally, even though a lot of people will say that, hey, this is a wastage of space because it's so long, right? For C, okay, it's so long. But storage is something that we can't run away. So if I have this storage, right, well, I can put in my vacuum cleaner, I can put in more additional shoes. I can even put a settee there that I can sit down, and this will give my house a little bit more premium feel lah. So I can even have the very thin kind of cabinet space. So I have more place to use. And today is always the same, right? When we are paying everything for the square feet, we want to, as long as we can make use of it, we want to utilize it fully. And my role is also to help you look at the functionality of each layout. What are the pros and cons? And then what can we do with it so that we can give you more ideas? So if you're looking at this, is C also one of your choice for selection of a three-bedroom? Right? Put in a comment and I will glad to hear from you. All right, so three bed, a lot of configuration. So let me just give you a one glance of all the three bedroom and three bed plus study configuration. So these are all how the bigger premium units are like. Okay, the premium units are all the 1066 square feet. So differences is really the layout or the entrance layout. The rest of it are very similar. And the 1066 additional, they come in with a what? Storeroom. Okay, additional storeroom. Okay, and then you have the WC, okay, WC, as well as the yard area. So everything kind of enlarges, and 1066 configuration, I think potentially anyone who buy this size, for you to actually stay there for the next 10 to 15 years is actually very functional. So no much difference, it's only the entrance differences. So how do you choose the entrance? Also depends on what is the available units and what is the pricing, which we will definitely guide you through. I don't see the entrance as a huge obstacle when we are choosing units. Okay, it's not going to be a big differences. But at the same time, we also need to make sure that the prices are also attractive enough for you to continue the units lah. So where are they facing? So three bed plus premium and the later on we will also study the 3-bed plus study. Okay, so this one is the 3-bed premium, which is the 1033 square feet. Okay, these are all the what is a 1066 square feet, sorry. 1066 square feet. So these are all the dark blue. So dark blue, dark blue, dark blue, or I just circle them. So we're going to do, when the pricing is out, then we will do a little bit more in depth. So you have plenty of choices. Like say 3 bedrooms, you have more than enough. All the light blue colors are the ones that you can actually go for. And when we are starting it as closer to the date, we will have our priority choices. And when the prices are released on that day, before your ballot queue number is up, we will already be going through what are the pricing, which level, what facing we should go for, and which size is much more comfortable for your affordability. Okay, so this is something that we want to enjoy doing. So another layout for 3 bed, right? Uh, the 3 bed premium is this layout. Okay, why do I want to highlight this? Because there's a slight difference, and this is very unique that usually most of the balconies are almost the same size. So you must take note the 1076 and 1055. The differences when, if let's say today there's still available units, you want to take note is the balcony size. Or the balcony size for 1055 is smaller. So is this a deal breaker that the balcony? So in the past when balcony was released, everybody was saying such a waste of space. I don't want the balcony. Well, then now everybody is like, hey, I want the balcony bigger, you see. So that's why change of buyers behavior is very important. People enjoy the balcony now because they can use that space for other purposes. And Singaporeans is very creative one now. The moment we zip track it, wow, we can do a lot of stuff already. And they prefer the balcony. Sometimes they can use it to dry clothes. And if let's say you have an unblocked view or even a pool view, like what Parktown Residences inward facings are, it's quite a nice feeling to have a lounge chair there. Then you can drink your coffee in the morning to enjoy that kind of luxury landscaping that the Parktown Residences has for you. So in terms of today's sentiment, I really encourage you not to just discount that, oh, today I don't like balcony. Okay, it's a good to have, and you must know how to make use of it so that it becomes part of the livable area. Or if not, in future, if they don't have balcony anymore, then you complain. Wow, then where do I dry my clothes? That may also happen. All right, so these two configuration, what is my take? Okay, my take is that I will definitely prefer the bigger one. Okay, you'll be interesting. Huh? Edmund, you choose the bigger one. Why? Because I believe the bigger balcony does have a little bit more usage. Okay, so I can put two lounge chair, you see. And some of the developments I realized the balcony are made too small. I mean, this size we have to really go and measure again. Some two size too small, right? That even if you put one chair, you want to put a two chair, it's going to be very tight, you see. So I prefer a bigger one space that because I can make things work in that space. I can even have a very small kind of a small dining, right? And then I can have more people sitting in together. It also possible. But for this, I believe it's going to be very tight that even if you have two, that's all. So that's why the balcony space is also something I want to highlight for this 3 bed premium. And this is the only configuration that you may want to take note, the 1076 square feet as well as the 1055 square feet differences. All right, so this is the key point that you must take note. So let us compare the 3 bed premium and the 3 bed plus study differences. So the 3 bed plus study is 1066, and the other one, the closest one, is 1173. Okay, 1173. So these two are the 3 bed premium plus study configuration. Again, are they going to be much different? Don't have. Only the entrances. One is this is longer. Okay, this is shorter, so more compact. Or that says the extra 10 square meter. Or again, you are able to do things for cabinet longer. Here you can also do just more carpentry costs. The rest are the same. You still have your household shelter, you still have a WC, you have a yard area, and you have windows all over. So these are definitely, families are always looking at this kind of property type. Or I think this is very crucial. And also they have another size layout, and this I show you where the 3 bed plus study are, which is all the dark brown, not say dark brown, this is what, gray, dark gray. Okay, all the dark gray area. So they have quite a fair bit. They're all spread over the entire development. Okay, so it really depends on how you see it. So 3 bed plus study, I believe this is also one of the property types that is going to be there's going to be a lot of demand. Okay, a lot of demand. So today, don't just narrow yourself into 3 bed plus study. Okay, you may want to even lump them all together to see the functionality of it. And if you can get any of these 3 bedroom, whether it works for you. If not, will you want to consider even the 4 bedroom? This is how I usually go, especially if a family. Today, as a home investor, you need to kind of be a little bit more open-minded with your choices. Yes, ideally, the best case situation, I want all ticks in my criteria, right? I want all the tick in the boxes. But life is very fair one. Not everything is so smooth. So we need to have certain backup. When we are doing for our client selections, we always have backup after backup just to let us see whether the property layout, the pricing, the facing, the height level is suitable for us or not. So this is the reason why pre-preparation during a selection is extremely important. I have to tell you. A lot of them, they jump into it not knowing what the pricing is, what is the walkaway price, and they just fall into that immediately. Also, this is something that you have to be a little bit more careful about. All right, so moving on. The 3 plus study, another layout is like this, the 1163 and the 1184 layout. Also, again, is the entrance only. So I'm not going to cover too much of this again. All right, so they have quite a fair bit of different layout. So, all right. So now, if we want to go for, let's look at the 4 bedroom types. Okay, the 4 bedroom types. So you can see the 4 bedrooms are the 1, 3, 4, 5, as well as the 1, 3, 5, 6. Again, why they want to do so many configuration? This is so simple enough already, ma. Why give me so much? Of course, for the 4 bedroom all the way, right? You can see all these are the range, all the light colors lah. You can see these are all the light colors, light color, light color. Okay, these are all the 4 bedrooms really. Okay, even the purple, which is the 5 bedroom. Okay, the purple color is the 5 bedroom. Also, you can't for the moment when you go to 4 bedrooms, I think the configuration you can't go too far away from how they are like. So that's why the only difference I want to highlight to you all is that today the 4 bedroom, right? The entrances, this is a little bit shorter, and this is a bit longer. That's all. But the 1, 3, 5, 6, interestingly, they have put their master bath at the end of the unit. So this is very interesting because usually the end of it is like a master room. Or just take note of this. This is very crucial. So I also question myself, when the developer is building, why would they want to put the master bath all the way at the back? So I was like, is this something moving forward is going to be a little bit more unique in that sense? So then I realized that, oh, if they are doing this configuration, the important part is they're making use of the what? They're making use of space. That means they're using the entire corridor, right, as your walk-in wardrobe. Okay, so you now have like a private space, which is when I saw this layout, I was like, hey, this is interesting, with a new layout configuration. And usually it's like that. When if let's say 1, 3, 5, 6 sells well, moving forward, you will see a lot of developers, they will also try this layout already because somebody has to be the guinea pig to try and see whether it works, right? So if today, have you seen this layout before? If you have, this is the first time you see this layout, type in yes inside the comment. Okay, because I believe this, we have seen so many properties. This is very rare for a new launch to have this kind of configuration, which I personally find that this is very interestingly done. And I believe the usage of space is very good because now you have like a walk-in kind of area. You see, you have a walk-in area, and this area you are using it. You see, so with the conventional toilet layout is you can't really fit in much stuff lah. Okay, you even if you want to put in another set of cabinet, right? Well, it's going to be rather tight. You see, so it doesn't give you the walk-in wardrobe kind of concept. So this configuration, I find well, this is something to shout for. So kudos to Parktown Residences architects that they are able to reconfigure this and give us a little bit of wow factor in the 4 bedroom unit. So this configuration is something that I believe, let's say you are going for 4 bedroom, it could be a unique selling point for yourself. And not only that, today they are 4 bedroom. They, of course, it's not a full, what do you call it? Not a full landscape. Okay, this is not a full landscape, but it's longer. Okay, I always enjoy landscape layout, although people will complain, hey, now if you landscape, the balcony damn big, which is definitely something you have to give. But when I compare this, right, hey, the width of the living hall is going to be comfortable enough that it can be a semi landscape or landscape. Because today you're buying a 4 bedroom unit, you go in, you want to have the kind of wow, a white space. Yeah, so I mean, I personally always like white space. So I always go for the bigger units, right, if I can. All right, and that's why, yeah. So today 1356, take a note of this when the prices are out, and see whether does this fit into your affordability. It'll be quite interesting to see how this pan out. Oh. And of course, just like I mentioned, all the 4 and 5 bedrooms layout is all spread over. When the pricing are out, when you're balloting, just go for it accordingly. So let us take a look at the bigger 4 bedroom, right, and the 5 bedrooms differences. All right, so this is the bigger 4 bedroom, which is 1496 versus the 5 bedroom 1679. What is the main difference? Not much. If you ask me, the main difference is, of course, the corridor and the extra room. The extra room is always definitely doable. And what they have done is they have flushed in all the units this way, and one unit at the back. So 5 bedrooms, it's almost impossible for you to align everything one line. If not, your corridor will be extremely long. You can run 100 meters there. Also, the other day I was with a client, and they went into one that is have long. It's a 4 bedroom, and the corridor is so long. They say that, wow, good, and my dog no need to go down already. I say, why? My dog can run here, up and down the corridor enough already for exercise. I said, okay, makes sense. All right, so for 4 bedroom and 5 bedrooms, is we have seen it, but it's rather rare that you have like a mini dumbbell kind of concept. But you can't do all the dumbbell. It's more of one unit, 1 bedroom on the other side. Okay, one room lah. Okay, 1 bedroom. That's all. All right, so this is not considered a bedroom. Maybe in future developers will start to build 5 bedroom. You have three on one side and two on one side to maximize the space. But that one, there must be some reasons they're not doing it. If not, we will have already seen it in the layout. So yeah, so for big one and a 5 bedroom, I think with the extra space is really to see, do you really need the extra room? Whether it's for you to buy this property and hold it for the next 10 to 15 years for your family to grow up, and each of them will have their own room. I think the 4 and 5 bedrooms are definitely worth to consider. So to give you a quick summary, these are the number of units for each type and the estimated maintenance fee. Again, these are all estimated maintenance fee, but it does give you a good guide. And this is a 1,000 over units development, which means from a maintenance cost, I think it's very comfortable to pay, and you get full-fledged facilities. I think that is something very, very encouraging. So again, today, if let's say you are really looking into Parktown Residences and you have not made an appointment to go down, you wanted to get first experience of how the layout, the site plan, and experience the whole show flat, right? Do reach out to us because we don't only just make appointment for you to go down to the show flat. While we are doing this to help you, we will also do a lot of pre-balloting process to guide you through not only just the registration, we will do a planning, balloting odds, and also the financial preparation ahead. And on the day of the ballot, we will give you real-time updates to update you the pricing. We will do more discussions, usually early in the morning, so that we can shortlist our priority units and what are the expected backup choices to go for. And if it's too expensive, that is on higher floor, should we go and opt for the lower uh, units at the lower floor? So for a more in-depth study of this, we have some videos that I give some examples. You can actually check out my channel, or you can actually reach out to us, and we'll be even able to guide you through on a one-on-one personal level. And most importantly, is really to avoid the emotional trap. Okay, we really don't want you to fall into this situation during the selection of process, or whether it's a high floor, low floor, which facing, it all still runs down to the pricing. Okay, your pricing of your entry is still important. So that's why we are always very careful to determine from a financial factor, and this will lead to our unit prioritization strategy. Okay, which one makes more sense? So today I hope that you guys have a good insights. I know there's a lot of layouts for Parktown Residences, and today we are going to dive in even more when we have more updates about Parktown Residences. And today, if you have not made a booking, the preview is going to be this week. Alta is going to crash. So if you want to see both show flats right over the weekend, right, let us know. We'll be more than happy to guide you through to give you experience. Again, try to avoid the weekends. It's going to be crazy, crazy. You will not have a great experience. So we can do it after your work time in the evenings with your family. Then we can sit down and really look at prioritizing what is your objective, how are we going to plan for a property. On the other hand, if you are looking at Bloomsbury Residences, which is the one north, or Lentor Central Residences, which is previewing on 22nd, you can also scan the QR code, reach out to us, because I already have inside news about their floor plan for Lentor Central Residences. Very rare one. But only when you reach out, because I cannot publicly share yet. So I can share with you personally if Lentor is the area that you're going to go for. But without further ado, just scan the QR code, reach out to us, seek a second opinion. All right. And also, most important, like this video. There will be a lot of opportunities that we can actually guide you through this process. And more importantly is you also want to subscribe to the channel so we can continue to do these videos to give you more insights, more learnings, more knowledge. So when you make a decision as a busy professional and homeowner, you know how to make a decision safely. Okay, so with that, thank you so much. I see you in my next video. Just